Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to this. This will hopefully be the last part of April's Q&A that I started doing because I got 1,800 subscribers. I realise that when you're watching this, it is the 10th of May, but you know, yeah, whatever. It's one of those, yeah, whatever. So, 15 questions left. Let's try and get through them as quickly as we can. So Mr. Sturgeon General says, "Hi Mark, congratulations and thank you for all the entertainment vids since I started watching in 2008. 2008? 6 years. I remember in one of your earlier videos you said, I don't have much time for Bret Hart. But from watching your various series, you always rate his work very highly. Was it more just about Bret Hart himself as opposed to his wrestling?" Good question. I've always liked Bret's in-ring work. It is absolutely fantastic. I just don't like the man behind the character very much. I find he's so boring. He's such a boring man, and he's so up his own arse, and his ego's enormous and all that jazz. In ring, don't get me wrong, he's one of the best ever, absolute best ever. And one of the things about having the network is being able to go back and watch his earlier stuff from the the late 80s and that, and see his rise to the championship. It's just glorious to watch because it's such a natural progression. It's not just this guy makes a debut and then the next thing you know he's champion. It takes a long time with the Hart Foundation, then he runs with the Intercontinental Championship before he finally gets the championship in what, 92. You know, it's fucking, yeah, that's good stuff. I like that. I do genuinely like that. I just like to say, just don't like the man behind the character. I think he's boring. I had the opportunity to go and see him. My brother-in-law Alex, Bret Hart was his absolute favourite always, and we've had the opportunity to go and see him doing these Q&As. I've always said to him, like, look, if you want to go to the Q&A, be my guest. Come get. Alex got the he's got various belts. He's got the Winged Eagle belt, and he really wants to get that signed by Bret. It's like, look, if you want to go and do that, go and do it. But I just don't expect me to come from you because I don't know if I can listen to the guy talk for an hour and a half. I'm just like going, I don't care. So next, Jake L. In follow-up to my question from your last Q&A, sorry boss, don't remember what that one is, but I found out that Southside Wrestling are coming to my uni town on this Thursday, which is the 9th. I'm going to get to the 9th of April. Simple question is this: should I go to the show if I can make it? A month ago. So you should, if you didn't go, you'll be annoyed with yourself. Southside are a great mix of really good British talent, and they bring in a lot of imports, right? The day that I'm filming this, for example, I could have gone to the Southside, got a show in Sheffield, where Bad Influence are there, taking on the Hunter Brothers, which will be an absolutely incredible match. If you can go to a Southside show, and they're running quite a few at the moment, they're running Stevenage and St Neots and Nottingham and Sheffield. So yeah, they've got quite a good spread. If you can get to a Southside show, throw them up around it. Yeah, I've never been to a bad one, I'll tell you that much. I think I've been to 4 or 5 Southside shows now. Always enjoyed myself. GCubeman007, hi Mark, congratulations on 1,800 subscribers and your record number of views that you mentioned for March. Yeah, we did have a lot of views in March. Keep up the great work. My question is, with WWE having different commentators at NXT, Raw, SmackDown and their pre-shows, what kind of knowledge do you think do you really need to be a commentator? At times it seems that they're able to talk. WWE lets them commentate. Thanks and congratulations from New York. What kind of knowledge do you really need to be a commentator? I would say that from the evidence that we see, not a great deal. I mean, I can only talk from personal experience is the thing. So the best way I can answer your question is from my point of view, because of course I have no idea what Cole and Jim Ross or Renee Young or whoever in this day and age do. With me, what I would do is on the Monday, if I was working on a show on a Friday, on the Monday I would sit down and I would try and write a little paragraph about every single wrestler and where their storylines have been, and I would put their win-loss record from like the last 5 or 6 shows. I would put championships down and all that, and basically all of this, I'd say at 5 shows out of 10 wouldn't be used. But what it was for me, it was if there was any time where either me or my colour commentator just didn't have anything to say, or if there was something happening, if there was a dull point in the ring in the match, sorry, and you wanted to liven up or spice up what's being said or what's happening, you can go back to these statistics you've got. So Bubblegum's, has won his last 2 matches against such and such, against DDL, and he won them both with this, and this one happened at this show, and this one happened at this show. I just wanted to have just a wealth of information. I like to have an A4 page of notes and information per match is what I wanted. I wanted as much detail as I could get. That way I was never lost for stuff. Some commentators like to know the finishes. I never did. I never used to like the finishes. So that's useful. And one of the things I always wished is I knew more about where the storylines were heading, or what just general direction where the storylines were heading in. So make sure, and basically that's not so I could, I didn't want to sound like I don't want to be a dick, and I didn't want to, I don't like, I'm not very good with secrets, I'm not very good with secrets at all. So I've got, so if someone had told me a result, the chance of me keeping it to myself with, I'm joking. What I'm trying to say is, it's so you didn't say the wrong thing, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? So I don't want, if it's Bubblegum and DDL facing, I don't want to say, oh, and Bubblegum, he was in a faction once with Cyanide, and then because next month I don't want Cyanide and Bubblegum to get back together in that faction that they were. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you don't want to say something like that. I can't tell you about NXT or Cole, or I just don't know. I mean, Michael Cole's was a journalist, wasn't he? He was he was in Yugoslavia and things like that, wasn't he? So I just don't know. You don't even need to have much knowledge of the product by the looks of things. I'm guessing that he wasn't that au par with the product. So yeah, unfortunately, I can't answer your question in regards to the WWE or TNA or anything else. I can only use my personal experience. And of course, at the end of the day, excuse me, I was thrown at the deep end when I was a commentator. I was just like, I asked a promoter, can I be a commentator? He said, look, here's your commentator. You're going to be working with this guy, aka Bobby Cash. Go do it. I wasn't told any. It's one of the things I look back on. I'm not bitter about it, but it's always bothered me that I was never told what to do when an injury happens, for example. That always bothered me, and it got me in trouble on my third ever show where they did a fake injury angle that I said, well, it's obviously fake, isn't it? Because the guy who was doing the fake injury has got a history of doing fake injuries. So I said, well, it's all clearly fake, isn't it? Clearly fake. And then when the silence sort of fell over the room, and and there was a couple of minutes of like genuine concern, and then of course it was a fake injury. So it's like, oh, I was fucking right. No one tells you about that, things like that. No one tells you about the backstage etiquette and how you've got to shake hands with everyone and how you've got to make sure you talk to everyone and all that. No one tells me a thing. I'm lucky that I figured that's the type of person that I want to be. I want to go around, and even from the tallest to the smallest to the best to the worst, everyone in that room, I will shake their hand. And if I don't, this is how bad I was. If I didn't shake your hand, I would send you a Facebook message later on saying, look, I'm really sorry that I missed you out. And this is why, because I hated disturbing people when you've got two wrestlers going through their match and what they want to do, and you've got this idiot guy with dreadlocks coming over and go, hey, shake my hand, Marc, I'm the commentator tonight, shake your hand. And these guys are like, A, and who the fuck you are, and B, I'm trying to sort my match out here. Fuck off. So yeah, that's from. I'm sorry, I need to sneeze. It's gonna come at some point. All right. Joey Collins, my old friend. Hi, Marc. Joey Collins here, pal. It says your name there, Joey. I'm only joking. Long time subscriber since early 07. Like the haircut, dude. Wonder if you don't get as noticed as Brit Rest shows without the dreads. Haha. Biggest shot since Taker cut his hair off. Ha. I'll come back to your question in a second. Let me just answer that one, which is what I get now. Bear in mind, I cut my hair off in February. It is now May, and I still get people. I get wrestlers walking past me, right? At the end of a show, a wrestler walks straight past me. I sort of tap him on the shoulder and go, are you not talking to me or something? And they'll turn around and go, Jesus Christ, Marc, I didn't recognise you. And he sat there going, I've got the same face. It's the hair that's gone, yes, but I do have the same face. I know I've lost the weight, so my face isn't quite as fat as it used to be. But that's an odd one. I was at a show on Friday night and a girl came bounding over like, what the hell? She hadn't seen me since January, so it's one of those, what have you done to your hair? Why have you done that? And when I explained to it why I cut my dreads off, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense. And what's going on now? I was like, look, my hair's been left longer than I originally planned because dreads Mark II are going to be coming on for definite. Anyway, my question is, do you feel WWE around WrestleMania season in recent years are too highly reliant on nostalgia acts or part-timers instead of focusing on fresh new talent to drive the company forward? Because I feel they're worried that they won't be able to get the buy rate without part-time stars. Yes, there's been breakout stars like Bryan, Rollins, Ambrose, Reigns, etc. But WWE hasn't had a part-timer in the main event at WrestleMania since WrestleMania 27, I believe. As much as we love seeing Brock, Lesnar, Taker, Sting, and Triple H among others on the WrestleMania card, there isn't a long-term plan for me that really feels like this isn't a long-term plan for me. It merely feels like a short-term solution. I wonder what your thoughts on this. Keep up the good work. I'm Johnny, and we need a pint soon. Yes, we really, really do. WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year, and you want to have a showcase of all sorts. So nostalgia for me, if it's just at that one show, doesn't bother me in the slightest. I understand that it can be a bit of a pain that someone is taking a spot away from one of the younger guys. That is something that's always going to be, you know, a bit of a bone of contention, isn't it? But at the same time, WrestleMania, because it's the biggest show of the year, and it's the, I reckon WrestleMania is the one show of the year that the WWE want to attract the casual fans. I know wrestling fans who old wrestling fans who only watch WrestleMania. That's the only thing they'll watch. They watch it year in, year out. They won't watch a single thing before that show. And I'll get phone calls in the week before WrestleMania going, so why is this match happening? And I'm going, are you asking me because of what? I don't watch the fucking product. Jesus Christ. But I try my best to sort of muddle them through. Like, this is why this is happening. And, you know, so people want, so old wrestling fans, and especially ones who came from the Attitude Era, and when the Attitude Era died away, they just lost interest. You know, they want to see people like The Rock, and they want to see Stone Cold, and people like Hulk Hogan. They want to see that. So I don't really have, it's a tricky one. It's like I say, like I just said a moment ago, the big one is it's taking a spot away from someone else who probably should be on the card. But at the same time, they are trying to give us the best cards that they can do, can't they? So, aren't they? So I don't mind it as long as it's just that once a year. How's that one sound, Joey? When are you going to Future Shock again? You came to Future Shock a couple of times, didn't you? And you haven't been back since, and that's weird. Anyway, another commentary one, Inga Mogam says, hello Mark, congratulations yet again. When you did commentary, did you study anyone's work or was it natural to you? And who would you be your top 5 commentators? That's 2 questions, that's very cheeky. I studied every commentary. I would watch wrestling shows and just, instead of watching the actual wrestling, I would just sit and listen to the commentators instead. And that's all commentators. So Mike Tenay in TNA and Tony Schiavone, WCW, and obviously Jim Ross and Michael Cole. It's all play-by-play. The callers didn't interest me at all. And so basically, all the guys I've just mentioned would be my top 5, probably, because they're all good at what. Yeah, they've all been. Yeah, I mean, Michael Cole makes a lot of mistakes, but at the end of the day, I respect Michael Cole a lot because, I mean, yeah, seriously, I rip the guy something fierce. Every time he throws something stupid, I will find a way of ripping him. You guys all know that. But the thing is, it can't be easy to do his job with Vince McMahon screaming in your ear. I've always said that it cannot be easy. Most people would say that Jim Ross is the best commentator ever. My personal thing would be that Gordon Soley is the best commentator ever. He's got a delivery style. He didn't need to shout. You know the way how Jim Ross would go, Stone Cold, and all that, and he would talk like that. He'd get really fired up, and he would say everything 3 times and shit like that. All good, trust me, but good. Jesus Christ, man, I tried and got it, and then it's still fucking shut. Just stay open, you cunt. Gordon Soley never used to raise his voice, and just watching matches with his commentary, it's like, oh, this guy is fucking great. He's just, his voice, his delivery was so wonderful, so good. I wish I had studied more commentary, to be honest. One of the big criticisms I had on my first 3 shows that I did, because I did 3 in 1 year and then did full time, But my first 3 is I spoke too fast, as is my. If you've been watching my videos for any length, you'll know I speak very, very quickly. And one of the things I was constantly told, you've got to slow down. You have got to slow down. Slow down. And it took a long time to get that mentality through, But yeah, they would be my best one. Thomas Shelvin. Hi, Mark. Big fan. Been subscribed to what is now my 10th year. Good grief. Been subscribed for 10 years. I've been doing this for 10 years now. I don't think that's true, but you must have been subscribed a while. That sounds like. Anyway, here's my question. With the overwhelming success of NXT and the indie feel, do you see the business going that way in the future, i.e. fans going and watching more NXT, ROH and PWG rather than buying into and watching the overproduced and underwhelming shows like Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-view to see WrestleMania 31? I, for one, now only watch Ring of Honor and refuse to pay for the dreck the WWE churns out week after week without the second thought. I want that to be the case. I would love it that everyone who watches my videos next weekend goes, right, there's some local wrestling on it, I'm going to go and see that instead. That is what I would like. The problem is that the majority of fans, the best way I can answer this one is, right, if I did a Future Shock review, right, tomorrow, say, no, there's a Future Shock show next weekend. If I did that review, I think I would consider myself very, very lucky if I got 400 views off it. But if I review WWE Payback, I will expect 1,000 views off it easily, because the majority of wrestling fans, you've got to remember, just don't give a fuck about the indies. A great example of this, this is perfect. This last week's NXT had Uhaa Nation on signing his contract with William Regal, right? The amount of messages that I got on Facebook, especially, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm sat there going, how can you not know who Uhaa Nation is? The guy's been fucking everywhere this last 2-3 years. He wrestles in Dragon Gate USA, and he's wrestled in Japan, he's wrestled over here at PCW. I saw him at Dragon Gate in Broxbourne for the first time last July. It's taken me that long to see him. The moment I first saw this guy, I was like, he's already one of my new favourite wrestlers, because I loved his entrance theme. His entrance theme was Genghis Khan. Fucking amazing. That's by the by. I've seen the guy wrestle about 6 or 7 times since then. Every time gone, this guy is awesome. He is genuinely awesome. So when people send me messages going, who the fuck is this guy? You forget that not everyone sits and watches indie wrestling. There's so many people out there. I mean, the thing is, some of these people that were sending me these messages, guys, I posted a screenshot of Regal and Uhaa Nation shaking hands. People were sending me messages going, who's that guy? And they haven't watched NXT. These are people who aren't watching NXT and they're not watching the indies. Unfortunately, the Fed is always going to be so much bigger than any indies. You know, the ratings that Raw gets still may not be as great as they used to be, but they are light and day compared to what the indies could ever do. I'm with you. You say that I only watch Ring of Honor, which is something I don't do. I watch PWG. They're my indie of choice. Or I watch Brit Wres shows. What day are we on? Sunday. So I was at, on Friday night, I was at my 12th show of the year, for example. And we're only on May, and it's like there's going to be many more throughout the rest of the year, and that's where I get my wrestling fix from. I have the WWE Network, so I can do reviews. It would go if I didn't do the reviews. Trust me on that one. I was saying to some friends on Friday night when I was at this show, I didn't watch Extreme Rules, and I paid for my network this month. It just doesn't interest me whatsoever. I don't understand when you say that I can't. I've refused to pay for the Drek. It's one of those crazy things, isn't it? I've got the network, and I still didn't watch the pay-per-view because it just doesn't interest me. I've got the network for old shows. Unfortunately, though, as much as I would love it for the indie mentality to come through and that everyone, much more people watching it. At the end of the day, everyone should watch indie wrestling, and I'll tell you why. It's nice and simple, because you can see the stars of the future. It's that simple. So when we're watching Uhaa Nation, you can say, look, this guy is going to be a megastar. He is going to be fucking massive. And you can see in 5 years' time, I've seen that guy. And I've got a photo of myself with that guy, yada yada yada, So, I hope that answers your question. Barry Ahern says, hi Mark, congratulations on 1,000 subscribers, 1,800 subscribers again, and I don't know if you mean it again because I've had 1,800 subscribers at least twice now, or again because so many people have mentioned it. It's a good, one of those. Anyway, here's my admittedly quite long question. Wow, that one is long, isn't it? I think wrestling has become cheapened by the amount of times wrestlers kick out of their opponent's finishing move. It's now nearly commonplace in the main event spots, and even more so at WrestleMania, for a wrestler to kick out of at least 2, if not 3 finishing moves. If memory serves me correctly, only Kane had kicked out of the Tombstone prior to 2009, making Shawn Michaels' kick out of WrestleMania 25 seem like a huge thing. But from then on, everyone began kicking out of the manoeuvre, cheapening its impact. I feel the novelty has outstayed its welcome, and worn off to the point where we now expect a few finishes to happen at pay-per-views. For some fans, they pay to see wrestlers kick out of an opponent's finisher and feel ripped off if it doesn't happen, whereas I feel it's now anticlimactic. And, in the same vein, which are now conditioned to very violent street fights, destructive Hell in a Cells, or chaotic so matches of the Attitude Era, and slowly weaned off it, we now need to condition back to the classic one finish and your done style of in-ring storytelling. Your thoughts? 1, very long question. 2, you are absolutely bang on. I mean, promise you, you are bang on. I started this, I'm sorry about this, guys. I started this in 2009 because it took me to hit him 3 of my pain game finishes on Max Carnage for me to win the UBW Championship. He kicked out the first 2. Cunt. Nah, I joke. This goes back to what we were just talking about Ring of Honor. For me, this Ring of Honor started this. Got to finish it. As I say that, me and my brother-in-law, who I mentioned before, when we watched PWG today, we believe that PWG's motto should be, got a finisher, have you? That's unlucky, because everyone kicks out of everyone's finisher, all the time. If it was me, right, if they want to go down this route of everyone kicking out of each other's finishers, what they need to have is, they need to have a move where, oh my god, I had such a good thought then and it's straight out of my head. Right, so everyone kicks out the AA now, don't they? So John Cena needs to get a new finishing move, right? That it needs to be a move that when that move goes down, that's it. game over. And the thought I had, I've got a bit of it back, but I can't remember the guy's name, and I'm such a knob. And as soon as I click off this camera, the guy who does the burning hammer, I'm sorry, I've got nothing. I've just got a complete blank. But when he hit the burning hammer, you knew it was over. It doesn't matter what else he'd hit. It doesn't matter what his opponent had kicked out of before that. When he hit the burning hammer, game over. That's what I think we need. If you want to have, it cheapens finishing moves. It really does. If you're going to kick out of everything, it's just, I think at WrestleMania you kind of expect it now, unfortunately. Yeah, someone hits finish, that's not going to get the win, you're going to need to do another one of those. It's weird. But yeah, I mean, the way you put on the end of the thing, about how we've been weaned off things, you're absolutely right. This needs to stop, and it's just, I just don't see it happening now. Like I say, it started in Ring of Honor in 2005, I think, and around that time, you started getting people's finishing moves in it. No, nothing like that. And you know, the great example is the WrestleMania with Undertaker and the Tombstone. If someone kicks out the Tombstone, Jesus Christ, no one ever does that. It needs to go back to that. You know, the suspension just waste like if it goes to the point where Undertaker hits the Tombstone, you go, that's not going to get the win. It doesn't matter, does it? So what can the if right? He's got the last ride, the chokeslam and the Tombstone. If none of those work, what's if someone's kicked out of all of them, what's he going to take? You know, and what move has Undertaker got in his arsenal that he can actually pull out to get the win? It's one of those things that bugs me a lot, genuinely. It's like, PWG is an escape for me. I don't watch PWG to critique it. I'll never do a PWG show. I've been watching their shows for 3 years now, something like that. I've never once done a review, and I've got absolutely no interest in doing a review of theirs. 2 reasons. The first one, think about the pages of notes you have to do, because there's so many spots. Pages and pages and pages of notes. But at the same time, I don't ever want to sit and criticise it and go, look, this was shit. And, you know? And then Joey Ryan hit his finisher, and they kicked out. So he hit it again, and he kicked out, and they hit it again, and he kicked out again. You know, when I'm watching it on my TV in there with a pint in my hand, I couldn't give a shit. I'll sit and laugh. I'll laugh at it. Got a finisher, have you? That's unlucky. Needs to change. Hope that answers your question. That was a very abrupt stop, wasn't it? Even its time. Josh Stockton says, "Hi Mark, congratulations on 1,800 subscribers. Watched your videos since 2009. Anyway, here's my question. If The Undertaker was to face Sting at WrestleMania 32, how would you book the feud to make it go must-see watch?" Oh, dude, come on. I personally wouldn't have Sting beat Triple H. Wouldn't have had Triple H beat Triple H. I would have had Sting beat Triple H at WrestleMania 31 and Taker lose to Wyatt. Then, the next night on Raw, have Taker come out and announce his retirement, only to have Sting come out and challenge him for the match in a year in advance. You could have had Sting come off very strong in the feud, and he could have cut promos saying he beat Triple H in his first match, and he could have called Taker weak due to losing at least 2 Manias in a row, due to Sting losing his first WWE match. Oh my god, would he still come across as a legit threat to Taker, and would this feud still work? Just PS, sorry for my wordy question. I'm going to have to read that again, aren't I? Because that didn't really make a lot of sense. If The Undertaker was to face Sting at WrestleMania 32, how would you book the feud to make it a must-see match, right? Just leave it at that, is the advice I'll give you. You don't need anything else, because... Right, look, I'm not trying to criticise you here, Josh. This is just for future reference. You're now telling me what you think, right? Instead of asking me for my opinion. So I personally would have had Sting beat Triple H at WrestleMania 31 and Taker lose to Wyatt. Then the next night on Raw, have Taker come out, announce his retirement, only to have Sting come out and challenge him for a match a year in advance. You could have had Sting come off as very strong in the feud. You could have had Sting come off very strong in the feud, and he could have cut a promo saying he beat Triple H in his first match, and he could have called Taker weak due to losing at 2 WrestleManias in a row, which really puts Taker over, doesn't it? I want to beat you because that's weird. Due to Sting losing his first WWE match, would he still come across as a legit threat to Taker, and would this feud still work? Yes, sorry for my wording answer. Never, ever, ever, ever call someone weak on a promo. Never, ever, ever. If you're weak, you are. If I then beat you, whoever beat him? Someone who's weak. So it means nothing. Well done, you beat someone who's weak. Great. Does that make sense? Oh, god damn. I mean, I would have had Sting beat Triple H at Mania anyway. I also would have Bray Wyatt win against Taker, because the loss means nothing to Taker now that the streak's over. Right, here's what I'll say. Must-see match, I'm not sure. I think, remember the What I always thought of with Sting and Undertaker was, do you remember WrestleMania 20 and Undertaker versus Kane, and they had all the special effects and all that, like the ring moving and things like that? That's what I had in mind if I was going to be doing. If that's what I would want to see, the build up to Sting versus Undertaker. That's what I would want to see. Sort of all that sort of stuff, you know. That's what I'd like to see. I'd also like to see Sting repel from the ceiling. So there's things I don't know. I just don't know. And that is a very wordy question. And the next one is, and the one after that is as well. God, look at these. If it's right, if you're questioning me, here's another one. All right, if I have to click read more, your question's too long. All right, surely. Hi Mark, congratulations on reaching 1,800 subscribers. Keep up with my good work. My question is, imagine Cena is pissed off one day and comes to work Raw. He goes to the ring where he's scheduled and takes out his frustration by grabbing a mic and starts dissing the crowd or talking shit about WWE. Would you say WWE would sweep it under the carpet because he's the face of the company? Or what if Daniel Bryan did the same? Would you expect instant dismissal because he isn't the face of the company, or do you think he will be saved due to popularity with the fans? Do you think Cena has some sort of immunity, whereas if rare situation like this arose, he would get away with it? Surely, if Cena goes out to the ring and starts ripping the company without prior consent, he'd be fired. Surely there's no two ways about it either. You don't go out and cut a shoot at all. You just don't. Everything is so tightly scripted in WWE that surely. Sure, it doesn't matter the wrestler. You're just not allowed to do that. I mean, in WCW, they got away with it because, of course, the inmates ran the asylum. And just Scott Steiner, especially at the end, he would just come out and just say what he felt. You know? And then you meant to be suspended, and it just wasn't. Or be suspended with pay. Genius. Fucking brilliant. You go home and think about what you did, and we'll pay you to do it. Idiots. Yeah, I think they would be, especially these days, instantly dismissed. RamsFan086. Hi Mark, how long do you see yourself sticking with the WWE Network? I had it from April to October 2014, and then again from January to March 2015. They just don't update it with enough content, and they rehash a lot of the same stories, like the Austin versus McMahon rivalry. I know, since you're in the UK, you got the network in 2015, which by that time it had loads more content than when I first subscribed to it. In my opinion, they need to finish adding all the WCW Nitros on there, plus update the old school section. The new and upcoming shows they announced aren't anything special in my opinion. Cheers, and I hope you reach 2,000 subscribers. First things first, I was so close last week when it clicked onto May, and the only reason that I didn't get rid of it is because I forgot to go to unsubscribe, and because the thought of trying to find all the, I mean, I'm thinking about, I'm running 2 series at the moment, so I would need to go and find a torrent of all the 2005 WWE shows, and I'd need to go and find a torrent of all of the WCW, ECW, and WWF shows from 1999, and I just can't be arsed with that. I think if I got rid of the network now, I'd probably just stop making vids, if that's simple. Here's the thing, my training costs so much fucking money at the moment that it's one of those things where when I look at it, it's like I have to be very, very careful with my money these days, and I have to genuinely work hard to budget for the network. My flip side is that 2 other people have got my network details, and so they're using it a lot, so it does get, between the 3 of us, we get a tenner's worth out of enjoyment out of it. I know that much. You are right about the content. I mean, like the Nitros one, I just don't understand. Just why wouldn't have all the Nitros? I mean, I've said before, one of the reasons I got the network, because what I wanted to do is when I'm doing the pay-per-view reviews that I'm doing, so say I'm doing my next review, it's going to be Hardcore Heaven 99 from ECW. I would love to be able to go and watch the ECW TV shows between it. That's not a very good example. The better example would be that my next WF review from 1999 is meant to be Over the Edge, a show that I've never seen before, and I wouldn't mind seeing the Raws in between Backlash and Over the Edge to see the higher power stuff in its context and all of that. And they're just not there. And you just go, so the main reason that I got the network is not there. So it doesn't interest me. I don't know, is the truth. It's one of those things I find, it's like Netflix, right? Oh, what an example. It's just like Netflix, right? If I watch 2-3 hours worth of content on Netflix a week, I would be amazed, all right? Don't ever get rid of it. I've had Netflix for a year now. I can't see myself, for 2 years now, sorry. Can't ever see myself getting rid of it because it's only £6. And I'd rather have it there and not use it than not have it there, if that makes sense. I think the WWE Network is going to be exactly the same for not just me, but for a lot of people as well. Is it saying? Michael Davies says, do you think Undertaker's dead man gimmick is finished now? now. Oh, it's all one thing. Do you think Undertaker's dead man gimmick is finished now? All I see is an old man with hair dye and eyeliner. Well, pretty much, isn't it? But it's been like that for years. You know, and years and years. I think he hasn't been an Undertaker / a dead man since the Ministry of Darkness stuff. He's just a guy playing a character now. Because remember, the Ministry of Darkness stuff that I'm going through at the moment, it's the Undertaker got too into his character. This is real. You know, I think the American Badass was much more Marc Calloway's character, and then he went back to the old dead man gimmick in 2004. But he hasn't actually done anything that means that he is a dead man, is he? So yeah, he is just an old man with hair dye and eyeliner. There's no nothing wrong with that. If you're saying that the hair dye and the eyeliner is a criticism, I mean, what would you rather see, the hair dye and the eyeliner, or what he looks like in the real world? You know, doesn't bother me at all. Autonomy. Oh my God, we're going to 4 left. Autonomy Influence says, hi there. Right, this one says read more, and then underneath it. Hi Mark, congratulations on getting 1,800 subscribers. Keep them rolling in. You might recall a couple of Q&As ago I asked you why wrestlers work over a limb. It tends to be the left one as opposed to the right. I've got another question similar along those lines. There was a match I just saw recently between Austin Aries and Samoa Joe, which also happened to be Joe's last match in TNA. During that's irrelevant, thank you, but during that said match, Joe worked over Aries' right arm. As you might recall, Aries is a southpaw. In other words, he's left-handed. I had no idea. I promise you I had no idea. So my question is, as a reference left-handed, does the typical psychology rules of engagement change so that you work over the right arm instead, or would it make more sense to still work over the left arm since it's a southpaw stronger arm? Cheers in advance. Thanks for 7 years plus entertainment. Apologise for my questions to be over long. Keep up the good work. I wish I could answer that question so badly. Because I'm genuinely interested. Does that make sense? You work over the left in wrestling. That's just how it's done. I don't know if you're left-handed, that then flips round, and the way you described it there, they work the right arm. All I can say is both would make sense, wouldn't they? It's one of those, look, just because you're left-handed, look, if you've got 20 people in the locker room and 19 of them are right-handed, one's left-handed, what, should we all change our style because you're left-handed? But the flip side is, look, he's a left-handed guy, so yeah, work the right arm, because the left arm's a stronger one. I promise you, I wish I knew the answer to this one, and I just don't. This is one of the things about not checking the questions beforehand, isn't it? I really should. I just don't know the answer to that. I just don't know. Well, I'll get back to you on that one. Ask me again one day. The Fredster 101. Hi Mark, with a C. Congratulations on 1,800 subscribers. My question is, how much does commentary affect match quality for you? For example, if a match is very good, the commentary is awful, does your enjoyment of the match go down? Absolutely. Absolutely. I can't abide by commentary. Your job as a commentator is to get the match over, to talk to people who have never seen the product before, tell them why this match is happening, talk us through the story of the match, tell us the little details that have been put in there, that's what the colour's for there, things like that. Bad commentary just pisses me off, and when they say things that are just irrelevant. I'll give you a great example, right? A great example of this was Fastlane this year. It was Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns, and fucking Jerry the King Lawler says, has there ever been as much riding on a match as there is in this one? Right? Jerry Lawler said that. So you've got Roman Reigns and you've got Daniel Bryan, winner, faces Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, right? And Roman Reigns' Royal Rumble, his contract thing is on the line, right? Jerry Lawler says this, and he means it. He genuinely means it when he says things like this. And you just go, you are a fucking idiot. Because surely any title match has had more on the line than this, or the Royal Rumble match has had more on the line than this. So many matches over the years have had much more on the line. You know, when it's a career versus career match, or if it's a retirement match, yeah, that's more on the line. Shit like that really, really winds me up, and it's just one of those. It's another nail in the coffin as to why I don't watch WWE. I can't stand the 3-man commentary team. I don't like Cole. I know I said before I respect the guy, but yeah, there was a reason for that. Can't stand Cole. I can't stand Booker T. I can't stand Lawler, and I can't stand JBL. I don't want to watch any of them at all. I like what Corey Graves has been bringing to the table in NXT. I love it when Renee Young is on the comment set. I just love Renee Young in general, so it's one of those things, isn't it? But yeah, to answer your question properly, commentary means a big difference to me. It really does. When there's a great example is Capital Carnage 98. I only use this one as an example because I reviewed it recently, or I reviewed it late last year, didn't I? But It was X-Pac versus The Rock, and Jim Ross put over X-Pac something fierce. And because as a fan, you watch that match going, look, Rock's going to win. Rock is going to win. Rock's going to win. He's the WWF champion at the time. He's going to win. Jim Ross really, really pulled for X-Pac in that match and made you start to believe that X-Pac actually had a chance of winning this fucking thing. You know, good commentary makes a match so much better. Bad commentary can make a good match awful. I promise you that much. But just mute it at the same time. You can just go, like, this commentary's do my head in. Like, mute it. Busby, right? It bothers me that much. How's this sound for an example? It bothers me that much that I won't buy BritRest DVDs that don't have a turn the commentary option off. Does that make sense? If you're going to sell me a DVD that hasn't got the option to turn the commentary off, I won't buy it. It's why I've stopped buying Future Shock DVDs, because they don't have that option. And I've got no problem with any of the commentators at Future Shock, be it Marc Adams or Chris Brooker or G-Man, any of them. Yeah, I just don't. There are times when I don't want to watch with commentary on. I'm an idiot, and I like to do my own commentary sometimes, or I'd like to just listen to the crowd, or things like that. I want to be given the option to turn it off. If you don't give me that option, I won't buy your DVD. Nice and simple. How's that sound? 2 left. Busby, I wouldn't say Bubsby, you remember that video game? Busby Babes for Life. God, I'm old, aren't I? Alright, Mark, congratulations on the 1,000 subscribers. Pow. Do you think the WWE kind of buried Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, building up as he was the next face of the company, only see Rollins cash in his money back and win? Keep up the good work. I think that they did the best possible way. Roman Reigns is young and he's athletic, and they've got time to repackage him if necessary. That wasn't the time for him to win the championship. The backlash would have been unreal. So to do it like this, they can keep the title. You know, he got screwed over, yes, but they can keep his eventual title reign and title win. It'll mean more, I promise you. I said in the build-up to WrestleMania, I think I said it on at least one of my WrestleMania reviews, Reigns winning the championship would have been a year too soon, in my opinion. At least it's got to feel natural. It's got to feel organic. If you're going to do the babyface thing and you're going to be the next face of the company, you can't just do it like that. It's got to take time. John Cena is a great example of it. John Cena got hot and then got really hot, but he won the United States Championship at WrestleMania 20. He won the main WWE Championship at WrestleMania 21. There was time. It was a natural build over the next year. You saw, as soon as he won that championship at WrestleMania 20, that guy's going to be the next guy. That guy's the guy. You know, a year later, he won the big one. You know, that's what I believe they need to do with Roman Reigns. Maybe not put the IC or US title on him, because those things mean shit these days. But it needs to be a long, slow build-up process, and it needs to feel organic. And most importantly, I've said this on the last video I did, I think, actually, the last Q&A I did, it needs to feel like we did it. We, the fans, demanded it. Then we, the fans, will get behind him. All right? And last one, how the fuck do you say your name? RSRGRSDG SDGSRGSRG. Why did Seth Rollins get a push when his girlfriend posted nude pictures of him? I thought he would get fired and punished for it. Good question. Can't answer that one, I'm afraid. I just don't know. You would expect when like you say, the girlfriend posted pictures of him. I didn't see the pictures, so I can't actually comment if he was completely naked or something. You would expect there's be disciplinary, but there wasn't, for reasons I don't know. Unfortunately, that's one of the things you have to ask someone who works in the company. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the questions down. Now, if you're wondering, oh Mark, are you going to be doing a Q&A for 1,900 subscribers? How about we say no, because I feckin' hate doing these things at the best of times. Genuinely, don't have time to prepare or anything. We'll do one when we get to 2,000 subscribers. So, that's where you can come in, help me out. Always, please do this for me. Please, share this video or any videos of mine that you watch. There's a little share link below there. Knock it out on Twitter, put it on Facebook with a little caption that about me on. Just share it with your mates. I need more subscribers, all right? We need more views, and that's where you can come in. Word of mouth is such an important tool. It really is. It really is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave you with how many times Gilmore has commented on my vids in recent times. How's that sound? I've been Mark P. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I've answered your questions satisfactorily. I know I probably haven't, because I'm crap at these, as I always seem to say. I've been Mark P. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the subscribe button. Check me out on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you all very soon. Take it easy, guys. Look how many times he's commented on my videos. A guy who hates me. Idiot.